Rise and shine, beautiful souls. This video is a prime example of why we as men should watch where we are planting our seed. There's a such thing as good ground and bad ground. This here is bad ground, okay? Let's watch this video, and whether you feel it's right or wrong, I want you to know this does exist. So if you don't want to have to deal with this type of stuff, you better be careful about where you plant your seeds. Let's go.
Look, y'all, every fucking day my baby daddy come here with one fucking meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring one thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like, that's bogus as hell. Like, you're not finna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there he go, and I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry?
What he like? What do you mean?
Okay, what about my other kids?
What about your other kids?
Okay, but them your kids' siblings though.
What are you talking about? What are you mad
Them
about?
my kids, them your kids' siblings though.
So what you want?
So my other kids finna be left out.
You didn't feed them?
You know I don't get my food stamps to the 7.
Lisa, how is that my problem?
But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out.
I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son.
But how are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings?
Lisa,
them are his siblings
Lisa,
though.
He
not finna eat in front of all his other siblings and they're not eating no McDonald's. Why do I gotta put?
Bring him out to the car. I'll let him eat
No. He's not finna eat that shit at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Lisa, so you telling me that I gotta bring? So when I bring my son food, I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound f***ing dumb.
How is that shit dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb.
Where are they daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to them other. You had them other kids. Them your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? So you know I get food stamps on the 11th.
3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. What
yeah,
like?
They're his siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me.
No, the I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You expect me to take care of all the kids? They're not my kids.
Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids.
Why are you recording me?
Because I'm exposing you. Everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy.
I'm a good daddy.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're full of shit in this bullshit. You only come here with one piece of food for one child.
The child that's mine, silly.
No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all then. He can't take that shit. He can't eat it.
Maybe if you had 1 or 2, I can maybe. You got, it's 3 extra kids. What the f***? You all like going to my motherfucking account, spending money on all those kids. Them not my kids.
Them are your kids' siblings though. Dumb.
So that's what you gonna go with? That's the one you gonna
Those are your fucking kids' siblings.
They my so that means
yeah.
I take care of them.
So don't. No, I didn't say you have to take care of them. You can bring them something to eat if you bring one something to eat.
I bring them food every other day. What do you mean?
Exactly, but you don't never bring food for the other ones. Lisa, you know I get my food stamps on the 11th.
Your babies.
Okay, but I'm saying we share the same kid as well.
Absolutely. So if you want to, if you feel like I feel the way about eating, take him in the room and let him.
I'm not taking my kid in the room.
Send him down to the car. He ain't got to eat in front of his brothers and sisters. He can come right out to the car and eat with me.
No. You know what? Fine. Give it here.
Thank you.
Give it here. Give it here. Give it here.
You sound stupid.
Dumb. He ain't eating this. You.
Why the you just do that?
Because you ain't bringing up for all the other kids. You stupid. Selfish as a like you're dumb as hell. You're dumb as hell. He not finna eat that shit. Dumb.
Take care of him anyway.
Dumb. He not finna do that. If you can't do it for all, don't do it for none of them. Bye, stupid. Thought I was finna take that shit today. Yeah, I had another thing for him today. No, he can't take it today.
Now, what did you learn? What did you learn? Obviously, this exists, right? So we're going to dive into this, okay? And we're going to go through it bit by bit, of course, like we always do, because we got to break down what's actually happening here, okay? Why does she feel this is okay? What's likely happening inside of her head? Because you do have what he's experiencing. You have what she's saying, but what is she thinking? What world is she exposed to that causes her to have this outlook onto the world, okay? Let's get into it.
Look, y'all, every fucking day my baby daddy come here with one fucking meal for my child, but I have 3 other kids.
Now, let's start this off by saying she likely believes that she's right because she's trying to expose him. She says, I'm going to expose him, okay? Now, whether she's exposing him or herself, that's irrelevant. Her plan is to expose him, okay? So she's telling you what she truly thinks. She says every day he comes by and brings food for his child. What is that exposing? That he's consistent, right? That even though she has custody of the children on those days, he goes out of his way, something that he does not have to do because she is supposed to feed the children when she has them. He's going out of his way to go and bring his child food every day, she says, showing that he is consistent. Now, she's not saying this about the other baby fathers, meaning that he's likely the only one doing this. But yet she doesn't value it. She actually is looking down on him because he isn't picking up the slack for the other baby fathers. So where she could see value in this man, she doesn't see it as value. She sees it as a reason to expose him for being fake because he's faking being a good father by not doing things for children that are not his children. So how is he? But anyway, you can see her outlook on this is he's supposed to bring food to my children. So if he's supposed to bring food to his child's siblings, now I have a right to paint on him, right? I have a right to project onto him that he's not doing something right. Now, imagine being a father, number one, and you're going to take care of your child, going out of your way to take care of your child, but you still have this counterpart telling you that you're not doing it right. Now, that's who you chose. This means you're likely going to argue with her a lot, even when you're doing the right things. You're not that father who's not in the child's life, but yet you have to argue back and forth with her. The other fathers are probably non-existent, okay? She clearly has to get stamps to make sure that she can get through the month. But she can't even get through the month because of lack of stamps, right? But she's making him the problem for that. She's putting it on him instead of changing herself. So she's really self-exposing. Do you understand? Every day she likely does have to go through this. And I say go through this because people who victimize themselves, they think they're going through something, not creating it for themselves. So she thinks she's going through watching one of her children eat McDonald's in front of the other 3. So for her, you know, I have to make this stop somehow because the other children are feeling inadequate because they're watching one father perform and they're probably feeling worse now because where's their father with McDonald's? Where's their McDonald's? So as a mother, how can I fix this? In her mind, it's to yell at him and make him do it. No accountability for self. You have the children. What can you do to make sure your children don't feel bad in this situation? Because you can't stop the father from performing. You could create other scenarios. Maybe the child does go out outside and eat the McDonald's in the car. You know, so it's not around the kids because obviously this mother's gonna make it a problem. And maybe the children are experiencing some negative feelings because they're watching this other child have his father. But is that something that you should remove from your children because they're gonna go out into the world and experience other children having fathers? You understand? What you should do is explain to them, you know, that father loves them. That's what that looks like. How you're going to be there for your children. You're going to be able to dictate that one day, whether or not you like what your father, how your father treats you now. You can't control people. But when you have an opportunity to be a father, hopefully you choose to be that type of father that you're seeing is the father to your brother. But instead, she's going to say he's not a good father. That is not a good father. So she's going to yell at him and call herself exposing him on camera, embarrassing him. Crazy treatment for someone who's actually going by and feeding your child every day, even when you don't have to. The worst treatment, actually, because this treatment is for somebody who's not there for their children. But instead, he's there for his children, being told he's not there for the others, and this makes him a bad father. Crazy, but let's continue. Also, she could say to herself, while the other children don't have great fathers, at least I have a man who is being a great father figure, a great example of what a father is for my other 3 children. But instead, she pushes him further away from his child and her. And she makes that positive role model of a father appear to be negative, which is crazy because she should be able to say, okay, I didn't get it right with the other 3 children's fathers, but at least he's showing my children what a father looks like. She pushes him away. That's wild.
Kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring 1 thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like that.
How come she can't feed her other kids McDonald's though? So now she could cook for her kids, but she says I'm waiting on food stamps. Well, food stamps can't buy McDonald's, right? So obviously she doesn't have the funds to be able to say, hey, can I put some money with it and you get our kids something? Now, she can't do that. Now watch this. She could go, can you buy my kids something today? Can you get my kids something every now and then? She could have asked him, right? If he has the money, he has the resources, she could have asked him, even though that's not his responsibility. She could have asked him, could you get this? She didn't even ask him. She brought it to him in the worst way. What she should be doing is figuring out a way that she can feed her children. Because if you're saying my food stamps don't come till the 11th, now we have to wonder if they even ate. Not if they just didn't have McDonald's. Because food stamps don't buy McDonald's anyway. Okay, so all this pressure she's putting on him, she's failing to look in the mirror. So there's a lack of accountability, obviously. She has 3 other children outside of him, but she's blaming him for that. She's not taking accountability for that. They're your children, they're your responsibility. If you have custody of those children, you are saying that you have the means and the resources to provide for those children. If those fathers are not being there for their children, that is a conversation between you and their fathers, probably between you, their fathers, and the courthouse. But you can't go to the father who is there and put the weight of those children on him and make that him not being a good father if he can't carry that weight or is unwilling to. That's you being a bad mother, actually. That's not him being a bad father. Please understand that. Let's continue.
Bogus as hell, like you're not finna sit here and make my other kids feel left out and you're only bringing 1 child something to eat. Look, there you go, and I bet you he don't.
The other kids probably do feel left out, but she's projecting on him that he's making them feel that way. They are not left out. Those are not his children. So she could explain it to her children so they don't feel left out, or at least they can have the knowledge to know that they are not being left out. This father is not leaving you out. He's buying something for his son. He is taking it upon himself to bring food to his son and create a relationship with him and his son. That's what fathers are supposed to do. Their fathers may not be doing that, at least not bringing food to their children every day. Even not doing this wouldn't make you a bad father. Even not going out of your way to bring the food every day. Because if he had the children in custody, she wouldn't be required to come and bring her child food every day. The person that's with the child will be required to feed that child. The person that's with the child is required to feed that child, correct? Not depend on the other parent to bring the money to feed the child. If that's the case, that's a weird situation, and you probably need to discuss who has custody of the child. Do you understand? Let's go.
Only got 1 thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more.
You're about to expose yourself, and people are going to see how you really are. You are turned all the way up over something you are completely wrong about, which makes me wonder, did you bounce this off of any of your friends? Did your friends tell you, yeah, girl, he wrong for that because this has been happening, right? Every day, you said, and he never brings the other children something. So did you tell anybody about this? Who did you talk to? Because whoever you talk to, if they seconded your ideas, stop talking to them. Get away from those people. They're part of the problem. Someone should have told you that this was on your part wrong, and your expectation that for him to do that is completely wrong. And you should not be acting this way, nor actually feeling this way. However, we can't understand what it would feel like for the other fathers to not be bringing something or not taking care of their children. You have to watch those children suffer or be in torment because of it, even if the idea of it is that the father's not performing. The fathers may be there in the lives, but they may not be bringing McDonald's every day. So it may hurt you as a mother to see your other children long for something they're not getting from their father. But that doesn't mean you handle it in this way. You're handling in the most toxic way, which is really exposure of self. You understand? We can't disregard your feelings for seeing your children go through that. But the way you are handling it is bad, is wrong. All right, let's go.
It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids.
See how he has no clue what she's even talking about? She's never brought this to him before. So if you ever tried to maintain a relationship with a person who behaves this way, you'll find yourself walking into a shitstorm more often than not. They're not gonna come to you with respect. They don't have a wall. They don't have a filter. They're gonna talk to you however they want to, showing you they lack respect for themselves. To you, that comes off as lack of respect for you. So they're not embarrassing you, they're embarrassing themselves. Right now, he's definitely gonna feel embarrassed. It would feel embarrassing, right? But this person is embarrassing themselves. Now, you know that in hindsight. Later on, he would be thankful for this video because it would truly show the world and the court system what he goes through, because she's exposing herself. And if she was to say any of this stuff to a courtroom, they would know that he is consistent in taking care of his child and that she is inconsistent with taking care of her other children. And she projects that onto him when he is not even the father. This would clearly tell them that she is not a great mother like she thinks that she is. They probably would discuss if he should get custody of that child, being what she's putting that child through. Won't even let him eat his own food that his father brings him, throws it down right in front on the floor, on the ground. Won't let the child go outside to eat with his father. All because her perception of him is not a good father. She laid down, had children with that man and 3 other men, 4 children, okay? Now, she thinks that his character is a reason to keep him from his children. His DNA makes him the father. And now you think you have a right to choose if he can be the father due to some moral right. You think you have this moral right to judge whether or not the father deserves to be in the child's life when you have already laid with him and made him the father. That was his permission right there. Because you cannot deny a father rights to his child because you don't like him or his character. Likewise, you can't deny a mother access to her child because you don't like how she thinks or how she does things. If she's the biggest whore in the world, you can't keep her from her children. She's the mother. If he's a drug dealer, while it may be negative for him to be around his children, you laid with one. You laid with a drug dealer. That's the child. That's the child's father, man. And now you have to allow that relationship, I'm telling you. So be careful about who you lay with, because you don't have a right to pick and choose, because it's gonna come down to the point where it's just your perspective. And it's just you trying to make him evil and trying to make him dance for you so you can allow him to see his child. This is why I say, men, be careful. You understand? You could be sleeping with a warden and don't even know it. Let's go.
I don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry?
What he like? What do you mean?
Okay, what about my other kids?
What about your other kids?
Dumb.
They ain't my kids.
Okay, but them your kids' siblings, though.
What are you talking about? What are you mad
Them
about?
my kids, them your kids' siblings, though.
Now, those are your kids' siblings, though. Is that a reason? Is that logic reason enough for that father to buy all those children something every time he buys his child something? The reason being that they're the siblings. Let's see if that logic continues across the board. The other children's fathers, do they provide for all when they provide for theirs? Is this what you're doing to all of them? Because if your logic is that, then you must be expecting that, right? See, when you have this woman with many children, her value seems to drop and men don't really want to be in her life. Now, if you were to go back in ancient cultures and a woman with many children like this, if it were tribed up, the men saw all the children as if it was their sons. So this wouldn't be negative to ask for, providing for all, as they are all your sons, regardless of the DNA. Now, in tribe, this works. But when you are out here broken homing it, right? Sleeping with people with no negotiation, not understanding what you're doing, just enjoying yourself and enjoying your loins, the feeling of sex, you end up with this broken thing. That these men in your life are not in your life for that. They don't look at life like that because you didn't find men who looked at life like that. See, in a tribe, every child belongs to every person. So yes, you would try to take care of them all. But don't you get it twisted. Your children still take precedent. Your children still take precedent, for they are your future selves. You understand? But again, she's painting onto him, telling him that because they are siblings, he has to take on accountability for those children. Well, those children are siblings. Why is she not taking on accountability for those children? Right? He has to do it, but what about her? She's watching him bring McDonald's every day, and she has yet to match him in taking care of those children with McDonald's. She's instead going to have him to do it. Now, she doesn't have the resources to do it, but she's going to tell him he should use his resources to do that for her children. She's not trying to negotiate this by, is it something I can do to earn that? I don't have the funds for it, but is it something maybe I can do for you to be able to, for you to take that money, them couple dollars every day and get them all a burger? You know, is it something that I could do for you? You see what I'm saying? Maybe there's some way we can negotiate this out so you can take care of them too, because they really are going through it, watching him eat that McDonald's. And if that's a burden on you, I understand. But if it won't hurt you to do that, I'm willing to do something to do that. You see what I'm saying? Some people sell food stamps, so I ain't encouraging y'all to do that. But some people know how to make things happen to get to that end of the month. But she can't even get to the end of the month and knows it. You know I don't get my stamps till the 11th because she has conditioned herself to stay in lack. She's not going to make ends meet. She's not going to try to work that out. Now, she's getting help from the government because she doesn't have enough resources on her own. And she stopped trying to close that gap to having the resources on her own. She's just waiting for her food stamps on the 11th. But she's asking him to spend his hard-earned money for children that are not his. But she's waiting her food stamps for the 11th for her own children that are hers. And she's judging him.
Oh,
So what are you talking about? What are you mad
them
about?
my kids, them your kids' siblings though.
So what you?
So my other kids finna be left out.
You didn't feed him?
You know I don't get my food stamps to the 7th.
Lisa, how is that my problem?
But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping
I'm
out.
not trying to help him. I'm trying to help my son.
But how are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings?
Lisa, you had
Them are his siblings
Lisa,
though.
you had the
He not.
So if you're trying to help out, I'm not trying to help out. I'm trying to take care of my son, not help you out. I'm trying to take care of my son. Why don't you understand that? Well, you're not helping out your son if you're not feeding the siblings. How so? What logic is this for you to tell me I'm not helping my son? My son enjoys eating this food. What do you mean? My son enjoys this relationship that we're building together. What do you mean I'm not helping out? I'm not helping him out by not feeding his siblings. This is weird, and you're projecting all of this onto him. Crazy.
Why do I gotta put?
Bring him out to the car. I'll let him eat
No,
the car.
no. He's not finna eat that shit at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Lisa, so you telling me that I gotta bring? So when I buy,
See? You're not about to eat in front of the other children. He says put them in the room. Probably not good to put them in the room, right? But he could take the food to his room. But he says, okay, put them in the room. That's a lot to ask for. Tell him come outside. He can eat in the car. Even then, no. He can't even eat the food in the car. See, she's going to be impossible. And all you're doing as a father is trying to have a relationship with your son. And here this other person is skewing your fatherhood, skewing how you are. Now you're leaving other children out. They're painting this whole picture of you. And all you're trying to do is love on your son. Unreal, right? Be careful where you plant your seeds, family. I'm telling you. The earth that you plant the seeds in, that part of earth that you choose, they don't have as much enlightenment as other parts of the earth. Dumb people do dumb stuff. You understand? So those parts of the earth that don't get as much sun, don't get as much knowledge, don't have the nutrients to be able to cultivate the seeds that fall down to it. So if you go around choosing bad ground, dumb people, then what they're going to do is dumb things. I'm not going to call her evil, but this conclusion that she came to is dumb. She believes that it's true, so she's acting out of that dumb idea. She's not very smart. And what we have to understand in life is just some people are not very smart. They don't have the intellectual capacity to be able to make the right decisions. They're going to think based on their level of intellect. And who's going to have to pay for that? Be careful where you sow your seeds. Let's go.
Oh, no. He's not finna eat that shit at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Lisa, so you telling me that I gotta bring? So when I bring my son food, I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound dumb.
How is that shit dumb? You
That's
sound
my-
dumb.
See, he even posed the question back to her to make sure he understands her reasoning. So you're telling me that whenever I bring my children McDonald's or food or whatever, I have to bring something for all of them. He's posing it back to her so she can hear how ridiculous it sounds. But what did she say? Yes, resoundingly. Yes. That's what I'm saying to you. Now, it ain't right, but you still have this other being that you're dealing with. And she gonna make your life really rough. So what you gonna do between now and times you go to court about this? Not see your son? Or are you gonna just buckle down and say, let me just buy these kids food? What's gonna happen here? Because this person, regardless of how dumb they are, they have some level of power. because you chose this person to be the parent to your child. Yo, and if you act out, the worst gonna happen to you. Let's go. And again, that nutrients that I'm talking about is what she's telling her sons, or her current son, is that all of them probably, that they're being left out. His father's leaving his siblings out by bringing him food. So he's getting negative reinforcement from his mother about his father. She's literally trying to expose him. And she's probably been talking like this in front of her kids the whole time. When they voice their concerns, whenever they look sad that he has McDonald's, she's probably reinforcing these ideas, negative reinforcing these ideas. You understand? That's the type of nutrient she's pouring into her kids. Somebody else's fault. Somebody else's fault. Somebody doing y'all wrong by doing a loving act for their son. They're doing y'all wrong. How them sons gonna grow up? What they gonna be thinking about the world? What are they gonna think about a good father? Probably negative thoughts. They're gonna remind themselves of that man who didn't bring them something when he brought the other child something, and think he's wrong for that, because they're gonna believe whatever reality their mama paint. That's the nutrients that you don't want your sons to have. You want a mother who's working to alleviate their son's torment, not stack on top of it with validation of that torment, because they're tormenting themselves. He didn't bring me something. I wanted food. Well, listen, that is his father. His father is bringing him something. I know that may bother you that you don't get to get some McDonald's. I can't get y'all McDonald's right now, but I will cook y'all up some burgers or some whatever you're going to cook up or whatever to try to make them feel better. But they need to understand that that is reality and learn to live in that reality, that that father does this for his son. And because she didn't have all of her children with that man, then she can't give them that. All they can do is work with what they have. You understand? Hopefully their fathers do better in the future. But whenever you become a father, you get to choose how you're going to be. Now, if you like that, if you like the idea of receiving things like that from your father and that type of relationship with your father, then you be sure to create that with your sons. No, they don't get what they want in life in that moment, but they get to learn more. You see what I'm saying? They get to do something with what you give them. That other stuff ain't nothing but negativity. But let's go.
You sound dumb.
Where are they daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to them other. You had them other kids. Them your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring.
Okay, now, but hear what he said, right? Where are their baby daddies? Now, see, dumb people don't think, so he has to think for her. So he's offering her information that she may not have considered. Where are the other baby daddies? This is the point where she's supposed to say, well, right, you're right. Where are the other baby daddies? What are they doing? You're right. What are they doing? He also puts the accountability on her. You laid down and had those other children with those men. That's y'all having to reconcile the lack of what they're getting. This is not a me thing. Okay, but watch this but. Let's see what she says.
One, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting?
How do you say okay and then stay with your thought? You didn't even consider what this man was saying. He asked you a question. Where are the other baby daddies? What are they doing? He also gave you a realization. You laid down and had them children. Those are your children between the baby daddies that you had them with, not mine. So you don't have to talk to me about what's being done for them. You talk to them about what's being done for them. Okay, but if you're going to bring something, bring it forward out. If you really considered what I said, you probably wouldn't still have the same idea. But because people are so dumb sometimes, you can tell them how to think, but they're not going to make it applicable. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And now you're having to deal with this person who's not evil, but they're dumb. They're not smart. And so you're going to be the one to pay for that. I'm telling you. Stop thinking that's cute when you first meet women, that's cute. They dumb. Them back acting aloof. And they can't put two and two together. And they come up with these irrational ideas based on what the thoughts that gloom through their mind. Stop thinking that's cute, because this is where it ends up. You arguing about things like this over your son. You shouldn't have to argue about your relationship with your child.
One child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's. So you know I get food.
She wants him to be concerned with how it looks for her to have one child eat McDonald's and the rest are not. See, she wants him to care about how she looks because of that. Why should he care about how you look because of that? He only cares about his relationship with his son. He's not to care about what that looks like for you and your other kids. And you can't ask him to. This is ridiculous. If he has other children, are you taking care of those children? Have you thought about what it looks like for him when you do something for your son? What does it look like for him and those other kids when you buy your son some Jordans and his other kids don't have them? Are you thinking that far too? This is crazy, because if he doesn't have any other children, when he does, I'm sure you're not going to consider buying them something every time you buy your child something because they're siblings. But you're going to paint this scenario for him. Let's go.
Stamps on the 11.
That ain't 3 kids that ain't mine. 3 kids that ain't mine. What do
Yeah,
I look like?
they're his siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me.
No, the I did.
Yes, you did.
You expect me to take care of all of them?
No accountability. No accountability. You got 3 children that's outside of me. 3 children. No, you're right. I'm wrong. It's a bit of a burden. I shouldn't be putting that off on you. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Let me delete this video. Son, come here. That's fine. He can go eat in the car. You're right. No, that ain't what's about to happen here. No. No accountability. No accountability whatsoever. You knew what you was getting into when you met me. You knew who I was when you met me. So it's his fault. Wow. How you're being is his fault. He needs to take accountability for laying with you, but how you're being is his fault? No, ma'am. Wrong. The logic is so terrible. And whoever she's talking to is probably validating these ideas, family. Birds of a feather, trust me.
They're not my kids.
Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids.
Why are you recording me? First of all,
Because I'm exposing you. Everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy.
I am a good daddy.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're full of shit in this bullshit.
He is a good daddy. Sir, you are a good daddy. You are a good father. You are. She has no idea what a good father is. She has no idea. Now, she probably has examples of what bad fathers are, but yet and still, she still doesn't know what a good father is. In her idea, a good father takes care of his children and other people's children too. That's her idea. An idea of a good father is one who takes care of their child, not other children too. If he does, that's a cherry on top. That's what stepfathers do. They take care of other children too. But you don't have a relationship with this man. You don't have a romantic relationship with this man. That relationship is over. Therefore, you cannot ask him to be accountable to that. You cannot. That is for the next man that goes into a relationship with you. Once that relationship has dissolved, you can no longer say, you know what you got yourself into. He got himself out of that. So he got himself out of it too, because he knew what you were. So you can't now say, well, now you still have to negotiate with me because you chose me. No, I don't. I don't got to do nothing with you. I got to take care of my son. That's it. Now you're going to make me have to jump through your hurdles to take care of my son, which makes you a toxic mother. And you don't even realize that. Anytime you're making a man jump through hurdles just to see his child, you're toxic. You shouldn't be the obstacles between a man and his child.
You only come here with one piece of food for one child.
The child that's mine, silly.
No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all.
Listen,
Then he
you
can't
had-
take that.
Listen what
He
you
can't
said.
eat it.
Maybe if you had 1 or 2, I can maybe. You got it's 3 extra kids. What the you all like going to my account, spending money on all those kids. Them not my kids.
Them are your kids' siblings, though. Dumb.
So that's what you gonna go with? That's the one you gonna
Dumb.
get?
Saying those are your children's siblings does not undo what he said. Yo, if you had 1 or 2 extra children, maybe I could do that. But you got 4 children total. You got 3 extra children. What I look like going into my account and paying for men's children that don't belong to me. But they siblings though. Okay, they're siblings. Does that mean that you're going to take care of all of them? Like, what are you saying? Does your other baby daddy have children? Do you take care of them too? Is that why your food stamps running out? Because you're taking care of every child that is siblings to your child? You better take care of your children, yo. This is crazy. All right, now consider the logic of, but those are his siblings though. Let's just consider this, okay? Now, father has a child. Man has a child. That child has siblings, but those children are not his children. So what is that to him? Nothing, right? Now, it is the child's siblings. It's every bit their brother or sister. But to that man, it's nothing. He's not kin to his mother, and he's certainly probably not kin to the man who she had the child with. We don't have a title for that. We got uncle, that means you're, the brother of somebody who had a child. We have father, which means you are the creator of that child. We don't have a relationship title for a son. a son's brother or sibling in connection with that father. There's no name for that. So while you want them to care, you want him to think about that, it's ridiculous to make that connection because he's nothing to that person. Now, it's nice if he wants to do that. Like he said, if you got a couple of children, I could do that. But you're asking me to do this for 4 children, for all 4 of them. I'm not about to go in my account and do that. That's not my responsibility. This sibling thing doesn't work because to that man, what he's going to care about is his son. And this is why it's important for you ladies to understand that if you have several children by different men, you're not going to get that man to care about all those children equally. Just like you likely wouldn't care about all the children equally if you have a child with that man and he has multiple children outside of you. You understand? So understand, a family is a mother, father, and child. Once that father leaves, that is a broken home. After that, that next man in your life is likely to love his child more once you have them with him. And if he leaves the relationship, he's probably going to only want to take care of his children. This is how that happens. Just like you're not going to do that. So it's just illogical to say that. You understand? But we'll use these emotions and try to be mad. We create these scenarios, and all because we're not practicing responsibility.
That's the one you
Those are your fucking kid siblings.
So that means
Yeah.
I take care of them.
So don't.
where's
No,
the-
I didn't say you have to take care of them. You can bring them something to eat if you bring one something to eat.
I bring them food every other day. What do you mean?
Exactly, but you don't never bring food for the other ones. You know I get my food stamps on the 11th.
Your babies.
Okay, but I'm saying we share the same kid as well.
Absolutely. So if you want to, if you feel like I feel away about him eating, take him in the room and let him.
I'm not taking my kid
or
in the
send him down
room.
to the car. He ain't got to eat in front of his brothers and sisters. He can come right out to the car and eat with me. Is
No,
that fine?
no. You know what? Fine. Give it here.
Thank you.
Give it
Grow
here.
up, bro. Like,
Give it
you
here.
know, kids,
Give it here.
You sound stupid.
Dumb. He ain't eating this.
See, this is what I mean by people who are dumb. They lack intelligence. Obviously, he's going to go ahead and just walk off here. But what if he had snapped and lost his mind? He'd been sitting in that line, because if he was toxic, the first thing he would have thought to himself is, I've been sitting in that line, getting this McDonald's food. I drove all the way to get it, and I drove all the way over here to bring my son some food. And you threw it on the ground? What's this, Lonely Island? You took it and threw it on the ground? Who are you to do that? And what that anger would have came out in action and likely had him ended up in jail. A dumb person will threaten your life in many ways, even with your own actions, family, because they'll try you in ways that you really have not developed an ability to handle. They're shocking you. They're surprising you. He just walked up to feed his son, and now all of a sudden, here she goes. How you behave in that moment could be life or death for you. Could be freedom or incarceration for you. Do you understand? And this dumb person has not taken into account what that's like for you, what you're experiencing. They're going to do and say whatever to you. They don't care. Do you understand? She threw the food on the ground, man. Unreal. Let's go. So let's be clear on all the things that she did not show that she cared about, okay? She didn't care about the time that he spends going and sitting in that drive-thru, the distance that he travels to be able to bring that food to his son. She did not care about the money that he spent on that burger because now that burger's on the ground. And she did not care about how her son felt about that time with his father and enjoying that burger too. So now it could have been, hey, can we do something to make sure my kids get the burger out of respect for him and his resources, to total disrespect for him and his resources by throwing them directly on the ground. Meanwhile, her son also knows that that burger that was for him. So she didn't care about anything. You understand? I'm sure that's not what she would want for her son, but she created that for her son. Now her son sees the father driving off angry and his burger, his drink on the ground. You understand? Crazy.
You.
Why the f you just do that?
Because you ain't bringing up for all the other kids. You stupid. Selfish is a like you're dumb as heck.
Good move. He's walking away. Leave. Get out of there. Get out of there. Right? That's exactly what he should do in this situation. Walk away. Just increase the distance between you and that person as quick as possible before, your worst self take over. Right? Let's go.
Hell, you're dumb as hell. He not finna eat that shit. Dumb.
Take care of him anyway.
Dumb. He not finna do that. If you can't do it for all, don't do it for none of them. Bye, stupid. Thought I was finna take that shit today. Yeah, I had another thing for him today. No, he can't take it today.
Listen, y'all, in that situation, you have to imagine for that father, he's embarrassed, he's humiliated, he is angry. But she has done him a huge favor. He did not know today was going to be one of the greatest days of his life, okay? In hindsight, she has now self-exposed herself to the entire world. He didn't even have to ask her for the videotape. She uploaded it herself. Now all he has to do is hit screen record and go to the courtroom and use that self-inflicting video on herself that she made to expose him on to get custody of his child. Do you understand? She just gave him a great gift. You understand? And it's so great that he didn't lose it. So he did show you guys, or put on display, amazing intelligence there, emotional intelligence. Increase the distance between you and that person. Get away from that situation, family. You understand? Because in the moment, you can try to control that situation. You feel like they disrespect you, you're going to try to make them stop. And that looks like a lot of times doing something that you ain't got no business doing. You can't make people do things. So whenever they're in front of you, giving you these experiences, try your best to respond, not react. This means think about what they're saying and intelligently respond. But when something happens to you and you're triggered to react, what comes out of you is likely the worst thing. Not something that's thought about, not something that's strategic at all. He did everything he was supposed to do right here. He responded. He didn't react. He could have snapped and lost it in this moment, okay? Him bringing his food to his son could have ended up in him physically assaulting someone, okay? And that could have been him going to jail, losing his career, his livelihood, the very means that he has to even buy those cheeseburgers or whatever he's buying to begin with. What I'm trying to say to you guys is, hopefully you can see it's not just that you will have a disgruntled relationship with your child, okay? You will always have a disgruntled relationship with the mother of that child because she's dumb. And all she does is sit around and meditate on negative thoughts and project them at you and make you the bad guy. So it's going to be impossible for you to get along with her. So she's going to resent you, and that resentment is going to pour into your child. And she's going to speak negatively about you, reinforcing negative ideas to your child, likely making him hate you as a father and hating men or himself, period. Totally overall. And she thinks she's being a good mother. She thinks mother knows best, when truthfully, you don't have any idea of what it takes to raise a boy. And most of us have no idea of what it takes to raise a child, period. We're learning every single day. So these ideas that you know best because you're a mother, they have only inflated your head and your ego, making you think that every decision you make is right because you feel it. But your feelings are wrong, because your feelings come behind your thoughts and your way of seeing the world, and you're dumb. So you don't know how to process your thoughts actually. So you're going to come up with a negative look, which makes you very toxic. You understand? So until you're ready to actually receive what the other person's saying, when you go to them, when they express themselves to you, I'm not leaving the children out. You said he was leaving the children out. He says, I'm not leaving the children out. I'm taking care of my son. Now, you heard him say that, but you're still going to project that they're leaving them out. Are you leaving the children, the siblings of your children out by those other men? Whenever you take care of your sons, are you intentionally leaving them out? No, you're not. But he is, right? Enough so for you to throw his food on the ground, not give your child the food that his daddy brought him. Imagine how your child feels, seeing you trash the food, seeing you turn his daddy away. You're supposed to be a good mother, though. You're supposed to be thinking for your child, thinking about what's best for your child. But instead, you're doing things like this. Or at least that's what that looks like. That's not healthy. And I always say, I don't think any of you want to be a bad mother. I don't think any of you want to be a bad father. I don't think you want to be that. But I think your expression of what you think a mother or father is ends up in you being that. And that's due to how you think on a daily basis. Who's around you? Who are you talking to? Who you bouncing these things off of? Because you're not seeing the world correctly if a man is bringing his child food every day or every other day, going out of his way to do that, loving on his child, and all you have is negative things to say about him. Now, but to those other baby fathers who are not bringing their children food, you don't have anything negative to say about them at all. You're dumping on this person. This is wild. You're putting him on camera, because I can't stand people saying he a good daddy. He don't deserve credit for being a good daddy, and he do this every day. You want to take that from him. You think that by witnessing the other baby fathers not perform, you would truly be able to see the value in this man. But instead, you projected all of their lack onto him as if he's the bad parent. You are the bad parent. Can you make changes? Absolutely. But only if you are willing to listen and let go of these ideas and think. Okay? Sometimes we have to understand, family, that people don't have the mental capacity to keep up with you or raise children the right way. They just don't. So a lot of you guys saying this woman's straight up evil. Nah, she loves her children. I guarantee you she do. And she thinks she has a point. Her only problem here is that she's dumb. Literally, family. Can that be corrected? Yes. Dumb is not thinking. Dumb is not thinking. So start using your brain and stop living in trauma, because you're moving without being self-aware, and you're hurting people around you. You're hurting your children around you. You're hurting the people you love more than anything. You're hurting the very ones that you're raising to protect. And it's in your non-awareness. It's in your dumbness that you're doing it. Kings, be careful where you plant your seeds. Trust me. All right? All right, and look, for all of you guys who are saying take it easy on the lady, I need you guys to understand that that was her goal, is to do that exact thing to him. And that's why she posted the video. This should show you guys exactly how toxic she truly is. It's already toxic to come up with those ideas and to project those on the man. But she uploaded the video. This means that she's willing to embarrass or ruin the reputation of her son's father. You don't think that's toxic? Like, just consider this now. Why would you want to ruin the reputation of your son's father? Like, you don't think your son would be affected in that? Like, wouldn't that be weird if a father was trying to ruin the reputation of his child's mother? Like some things you're just going to keep disclosed because you don't want to ruin their reputation. You don't want your children to have to pay for something their parents did. Like, you would think for your child, seemingly, but she's so determined to ruin the idea that he is a good parent that she's willing to ruin that for her own son, who has a good relationship with his father. The community would now, if it went her way, look at that man like he's a bad parent. And she's okay with her son having to go through that. That's crazy, y'all. So many of you guys are saying take it easy on her. She's probably had enough. I need you guys to understand that this for her is her karma. I'm not saying we turn up with justification, meaning that she was trying to do that to somebody else, but I'm saying, look, somebody jump off of a building, you can't be mad at the ground when they go splat. You understand? That's how the world works. You understand? So sometimes you're going to have to pay for exactly what you was doing to somebody else. And you probably should. So she's recognized now for being a bad mother due to the thoughts that came out of her head and the actions that came out of her own body, her own being. Y'all can take it easy on her if you want to. That's fine. But I'm just letting you know, this is exactly what she wanted him to be going through. Exactly. That's why she uploaded this mess. Like, yo. Oh, and just to be clear, let's not discount the fact of what it could feel like to look around the room and see your children, your other 3 children, feeling some type of way about that other child having McDonald's. You could see that come out in many ways. You could see jealousy come out between the siblings. You wouldn't want to see that as a mother. You could see sadness in the other children. Maybe they cry. Maybe they look sad. Maybe they say it out loud. Maybe you're projecting it onto them because you think they're thinking it. Whatever the case may be, you can imagine that would hurt as a mother. That would hurt as any parent to watch your child feel that. You understand? So we're not discounting that. That part is saying, okay, you're empathetic. You understand how your children feel. But here's the problem. We don't learn how to deal with our emotions when we're children. So because she feels sad in that moment and she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions, she needs to rationalize her emotions. So now I need to justify why I feel sad. So someone must be wrong here. So now she's going to try to find evidence to support that person being wrong, because she needs to try to rationalize why she feels that way. And this is why I'm telling you guys, when we say mother knows best, when you are raising your children, your emotions are going to bleed into how you make your decisions more often than not. What a father does is he provides structure because he looks into the distance and he thinks about how it's going to affect the child long term. He's going to prepare that child for when he's no longer here. You're going to try to protect that child from their emotions in the moment. What you would do in that moment would weaken that child overall. It may relieve them in the moment, but overall, you're going to weaken that child, potentially. The father is thinking, sometimes I have to let the child go through some things so they can be stronger, so they can build their confidence, so they can learn who they are. Sometimes they're going to lose. See, as a mother, you're not going to want them to lose. Imagine this. When Debo was fighting Craig, right? Debo got Craig on the ground. Craig bloody, eyes swollen. He's hurting. But what is Pop saying?
Come on, Craig.
Get up, son.
Come on, Craig.
Get up, son.
Told y'all.
You got to fight him, son. Get back up, son. But you got to understand, as a father, you're fearful for your son. You don't want this man to hurt your son even further or kill him. But you're encouraging your son to get up. Why? Because you want to see your son be strong. You want to see your son be courageous. You want to see him win. So as a father, you're going to encourage the other side of your son, the part of him that has yet to show itself, because you're trying to motivate that side to come out. But what was Craig's mother doing? Trying to fight Debo. Okay, Pops had to hold her back. She was willing to fight Debo. Now, she can't beat Debo, but emotionally in that moment, she wants to protect Craig. So she's willing to throw herself into it. This is the difference between mother and fathers. Clearly, that's a display of her love. But that's not the right move to make it for Craig long term. So for her, the other children are sad because they don't have food. They're not eating McDonald's. We can all understand that. But those feelings that you have are not right. The sadness you feel after you think about it, if you think about it rationally, aside from your emotion, you probably won't have that emotion and you can relieve yourself of it. But if you use your emotion to guide you through it, this is when you're going to have a problem. You understand? Like, emotion makes a great passenger, but don't let them drive your car. Do you understand? Let your emotion motivate you, right? Motivation is the motivation. It's the fuel, but it's not the steering wheel. You're going to use your eyes and your logic, okay? So regardless of how strong you believe you can fly, don't jump off that building. Do you understand? And this is how fathers parent their children. You want to jump in and save them. You want to do this. You want to do that. But that's going to weaken them. So you got to make better decisions. You got to make decisions not with your emotions, but think with what you see in the distance. You understand? So please understand that, family. All right. I definitely have considered how she may be feeling. And that's the point. What it looks like is one thing. It looks evil. That's why I'm saying she's not evil. She's just dumb, meaning she's lacking using rationalization to figure out what's wrong and how to handle it, how to mediate the situation. Instead, she's letting her emotions guide her, absent-minded, and being aware of the damage she's causing alongside getting there, so to speak. So when in that moment, she could have said, okay, maybe I'll talk with him and see if I can add something to the pot to get my kid some burgers. Maybe he can't get 3 more burgers. Maybe he can get 2 and we can cut them in half, divvy them up, cut them both into a third and they can get, a burger, something. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they can get a burger and some fries and split the burger and fries amongst them. You see what I'm saying? And this way you can try to get the children what they need. And it's not his responsibility, so you don't come to him with anger. And if you are going to talk to him about it, you probably should talk to him about it first instead of trying to expose him about it first. So all those things right there shows the toxicity that dwells within her, that she feels like she has the entitlement to be able to tell him he's wrong and to judge him as a father. Now she's probably looking at it saying, how dare you bring this food to these kids, knowing that they're going to be in here upset about it, knowing the other one's going to be mad. But the fact is, maybe he has not considered that. And maybe once you mention that to him, he'll say, well, dang, that's you right. I didn't think about that. Dang, you right. Let me take the kids outside, let them eat in the car. You see what I'm saying? Maybe we can do it a different way. Maybe I can work with you to make sure the other kids is getting something too. Maybe that would make him feel good about himself. Maybe he'd be up for that. But if you bring it to him in this other way, you're not going to get what you want. So logic says we started this conversation because you wanted the other children to eat too. But now you're just saying, I want to win the argument. You understand? So whenever you now just wanting to win the argument, you're going to make whatever rationalization you can and not listen to no logic or nothing. And if you really truly want to make something happen, you really need to be a good listener and find out how the other person's thinking, because that's the counterpart to your child. So you're going to have to work with them. So you probably shouldn't be talking at them, because regardless of how dumb they are, they're still 50% their child. So that's still 50% power. I was asking Lacey a minute ago, would you go into business with someone who was stupid, but also wanted 50% of control of the business? They stupid. They got money. They got the resources to make things happen. They got the capital, but they also want equal opportunity to make decisions, but they're stupid. Would you go into business with them? No, because they are right. That their decision does matter too. And that's going to not be right? Because, yo, you being fair is allowing them to make their decisions too and stand out of the way too. So if they're not very smart, move around. Please understand that dumb people do dumb things. They're not thinking, so they're going to make moves in the moment, yo, to try to regulate how they feel. We weren't taught how to deal with our emotions. Feeling one way and rationalizing that is a whole other thing. You got to think about this separate from your emotions. Otherwise, you're going to be biased to prove how you feel. And none of us want to be wrong about how we feel. We think how we feel is reality. How you feel is your perception. So you need to deal with what really happened. A lot of times we can grow up mad at our parents over something we felt when we was a child and we never talked to them about it. And what we should be doing is saying what actually happened that day before you even dump onto them that they did you a certain way. You understand? And learn how to forgive and learn how to see it through the eyes of a parent, because you see it through the eyes of a child. Your view and what you think, a mother's idea of what a child needs and a father's idea of what that child needs in that moment are going to differ a whole lot, especially if that child's a boy. You understand? It probably will differ even if it's a girl. But in those moments is when y'all got to learn how to negotiate with each other, because the goal is that your child grow up to be healthy. Okay? Not that you dictate the whole way. You want your child to grow up and be healthy. You understand? So don't be with a dumb person, because a dumb person is just going to always try to get their way. And it's going to be based on how they feel, because they're not thinking, trust me. They're feeling. And they feel like you should be bringing food for them other kids, because it sucks to sit around and watch that. But you're seeing all of that because of your lack of responsibility. That's why you're seeing that. And you need to find somebody to blame. It's you. It's you. I promise you. Now, can you regulate it? Yes. With a discussion to that man, you probably can. But you didn't even try. You just tried to ruin his name. You just tried to expose him. You just tried to, change the perception of how people see him. That's crazy. You understand? You trash this food on the ground right in front of your child. In one instance, you're empathic and you see your child's pain, and therefore you feel pain. In the other instance, you're a chaotic Tasmanian devil. And people who are passionate about stuff like this, when they're also dumb, will ruin your life and feel justified in doing so because it was over their children. I'm telling you. All right. I'm done. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you have found yourself, and you can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to leave the shore. Peace, family.